Every once in a while, CP is right. Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri stars Frances McDormand, Sam Rockwell, Woody Harrelson, and is directed by Martin McDermott. What's up, guys? I just finished watching Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. And before I get into this review, I just started up an account on Stardust. This is not a plug for me getting paid or anything. I love interacting with my fans the best way I can, and if I can do that via video, even better. And Stardust is awesome because it lets you give 30-second videos of a movie you just saw. You could walk right out of the theater, pull your phone out, and record just a quick, your initial thoughts of a video, just like I did right here.
Hey guys, I just got out of Three Billboards to Ebbing, Missouri, and I'm going to be recording a review, but let me just say, this thing was powerful, like amazing performances.
But there you go, I just sat down, recorded that real quick to Stardust, sent it out to you guys, so you get my initial thoughts before I give my full in-depth review, which is what I'm doing right now. But a couple weeks ago, when everybody was going to see Justice League, I remember my good buddy CP went and seen this movie, and he just shouted to the mountaintops on Facebook how great this movie was and people need to get out and see it. And that's kind of the catalyst of what made me want to go see it. And sure enough, yeah, it was phenomenal. So first, let's get into the plot. Now, Three Billboards really kind of caught my eye, especially if you watch the trailer for this movie. And basically what it's about is Frances McDormand, her daughter, was the victim of a heinous crime. She was raped and murdered. And the police did not really do much to solve the case, or at least in her mind they didn't. So she thought, I'll get the whole town's attention and buy out 3 billboards and basically target the police, stating that, hey, you guys should have done a lot more to solve this crime. And so there's this constant tug of war between her and the police along the way, really between her and the whole town, actually. But one thing about this movie I have to say is it is so powerful. And the reason for that is because of the script and the performances. The characters in this movie and the actors that play those characters are just on another level. Like, most of your movies you're going to see this year aren't going to have this caliber of acting. This is Oscar-worthy type stuff. First off, Frances McDormand runs this engine, and she really sinks her teeth deeply and firmly into this role. You can tell that by the end of this, it probably took something out of her because she's a really hard person throughout this. She's extremely emotional, angry, very angry. There's a few scenes in this where you will see that anger completely on display. She doesn't care. For example, there is a character in this movie that divulges some life-threatening information to her, and she says, so what? And so from that, you can tell that just something has been ripped out of this person, and everybody around her is going to pay for it. Next up, as far as the characters outside of her, there are quite a few of them that have like really strong character arcs, and I love when movies do that, where you have a character that starts out one way, and then by the end of the movie, he's like a completely different character. Sam Rockwell is a great example of this. His performance in this, I think, please give this guy an Oscar nomination. He really deserves it for this. In the beginning of this movie, you hate him. He is a racist, he's lazy, he doesn't take his job seriously at all. But then some things happen to him along the way that could cause him to go even worse or even better. I'm not really going to divulge that information, but I just will say I was glued to him throughout this whole thing. Also, an up-and-coming young actor, Caleb Landry Jones, really shines in this. You might remember him from X-Men movies, and also he was in Get Out earlier this year. But to me, he's probably the most eccentric character in this. He's the guy that sells Mildred the billboard space at the beginning of the movie. And I really liked him because, he had a lot of people coming at him because, these billboards, they caused a lot of drama in the town. And he was just kind of a brick wall saying, I don't care what you think. And at face value, he looks like this really small pushover type of character, but he had a really big heart. And he stood up for what he believed in. And I love characters like that. And then you got Woody Harrelson, who is the town sheriff. And I think right away you're going to get where he's coming from. He's not a bad guy at all. He really does try to do a good job in the town. And he has this moment where he tells Mildred that, hey, My hands are tied. There's only so much I can do in this case. A lot of evidence was collected, and unfortunately, you know, the DNA evidence just wasn't there. But Mildred, of course, doesn't want to hear that. But what I will say about Woody Harrelson's character is that he is one of the most pivotal. A lot of crazy stuff happens around him, especially in the middle of this movie. Now, as far as any cons, guys, and it's hard to give a con for this movie, but it's really heavy stuff. Like, it's not the type of stuff that you're gonna want to jump right into right after. I think it's one of those type of movies that you have to let breathe for a bit, but I could definitely still see myself watching this again just because of how powerful it is and how refreshing it is, especially in the current landscape right now of movies. And this is a movie that I can tell it's probably not gonna do that well. It's gonna get kind of buried between Justice League and Star Wars and all these big movies, but it's a movie that needs to be seen. It needs to be talked about because movies of this caliber, they don't come along that often. So despite that small con, I'm still gonna give this crap on my own because it's, like I said, for acting alone, this is probably the most powerful performances you're gonna see this year. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, if you'll notice, I got my my Drumdums t-shirt on. I want to give a quick shout out to Nick Pusa from Killer Flicks, who bought one of these t-shirts. You can see his pretty mug up here, and he looks great in that t-shirt, doesn't he? And if you want to get a t-shirt, you can click on the link below, and it'll take you right to the Drumdums store, and you can buy a Drumdums t-shirt or you can buy a Killer Flicks t-shirt, whatever you want. Also, come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. On Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and now Stardust. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.